Hey guys, welcome to my channel. And over the past few months, I've been getting a lot of mentorship calls with junior artists to discuss art, how to improve, and also create opportunities for themselves. And you know what? I started seeing a pattern where a lot of these artists were facing the exact same issues. So I decided to put everything together in this one video lesson in the hopes that it's helpful to anyone who needs it. And if you're feeling stuck, unmotivated, or that your art isn't improving, this video is for you. And here are 10 reasons why your art might suck and how to fix it. Reason number 1 is that you're too focused on the end goal. Now, it is perfectly fine for all of us to have goals, however ambitious they are, whether it is getting into this college or that job or creating this portfolio piece. But a lot of these goals require a lot of time, effort, and mental energy to actually get into place, especially if they are many years down the line. Now, a lot of the artists I spoke to would spend most of their available time just researching, planning, scheduling, and figuring out how to go about just setting up their life in order to get these goals, which led them to procrastinate on actually making art itself, which is a problem that a lot of us face, where we end up consuming more than we actually put out and create, right? So the fix to that would be to change your mindset from planning to doing and set a standard that you have to keep. So before you give yourself any time that you can spend on planning and figuring things out, you have to do something first, which is a rule I also follow, where I create a warm-up artwork for my day, which is what you guys are seeing on the screen being created right now. And I don't allow myself to do anything else until I create this warm-up artwork, and then I can go on with my day. Lesson number 2 is that you are waiting for the perfect project. Now, a lot of us have these amazing project ideas in our mind where we want to create this webtoon or this animated shot or these series of illustrations, and we spend so much time and effort waiting for the perfect time, the perfect moment, and it never happens. So you first need to make it exist and then make it perfect along the way. Don't wait to start, just start, put it out there, and then build it up as you go. Reason number 3 is that you are too obsessed with art style and not fundamentals. Now, I know how annoying it can be as an artist just starting off, where you see a lot of top artists on social media with their iconic art styles and the way they go about painting whatever they do, and you feel the urge to stand out and create something iconic, something that is truthfully yours. But at the same time, you can't do that without first building up your fundamental skills. Now, style comes after mastering the basics, because you need to know what to exaggerate or oversimplify. Otherwise, your art is just going to look like a mess and it'll look like just a collage of different things that you're just experimenting with. So the fix for that is simply to spend a lot of time focusing on foundational skills without any expectations being placed on it in order to make it look cool or make it look nice. And the fundamentals can be quite boring, but that's perfectly fine, because each new sketch you take takes you one step closer to that iconic art style that you want. Reason number 4 is that you put too much pressure on each artwork. Now, being an artist, everything you create, you ideally want it to look good, and if it doesn't look good, you feel like a failure, you lose motivation, you lose your energy, and you go into a slump, and I totally get that. But you need to understand that that is also perfectly fine, because you're only going to make progress once you make enough bad art to actually improve on. And eventually, you will start seeing that your bad art that you create in the future is actually what your younger self would have been so proud of right now. Reason number 5 is that you are not making enough art. Now, while speaking to a lot of these artists, I realized that they mainly make art only when they have to, which is based on their college assignments or projects or even just client projects. So all the art they do is either for a class project or for a client if they're a freelancer. And while you can improve with those, the point of art school firstly is just to give you a base that you can then take and try 100 different attempts and grow on it. And the point of a client is just to get your final product and not train you and teach you how to be a better artist, right? So you need to be making a lot more art on your own time outside of the classroom and outside of client projects in order to grow and improve and eventually create your own art that you truly love and enjoy. Now, here's another example where there are some artists who have been drawing all their life, from when they are young or their early teens into their college days, into their work days, into their 20s, 30s, and so on. And there are other artists who pick up art as a passion much later on and have only been drawing for the past year or two. And now there's a big gulf between the two in terms of volume of work and practice put in. And you cannot bridge that gap just by making only the art that's required off of you, right? So you need to be working 10 times more in order to put that out. And the easiest way to do that is to fall in love with creating art, fall in love with the process, and just make whenever you can because you love it so much. That also leads me to reason number 6, which can help you excel a lot faster, which is you lack targeted practice. Now, there's a saying that it takes 10,000 hours of work to become a master at something, but if you spend those 10,000 hours just drawing the same sketch really badly without improving, you are going to suck at the end of those 10,000 hours as well. So the fix to that is to start targeting your practice and doing the boring work. For example, if you want to get better at drawing faces, first draw 10 faces a day of just the front face, right? Do that for 10 days. Then draw 10 faces from the side. Then draw 10 faces from different angles. Then work on expressions, then work on perspective, and do that all the way, right? And by the end of, say, 100 days, you're going to be like a master at just drawing faces, right? It's better than drawing an average face, doing 2 to 3 studies, and then just quitting and deciding I'm better at backgrounds, or I'm better at, objects or colors or just other things, right? If you want to actually get good at something, you need to put in the time and effort and target the practice accordingly. Which also leads me to the next point, which is reason number 7, is that you are not studying enough. Now, what I mean by a study is to take a reference image, be it from real life or a photograph or other artists' work, and create a copy of it to the best of your ability without tracing it or without doing color picking. And setting a time limit is super important because it's easy to just keep procrastinating and spending forever on an artwork and calling it a study and then making no progress on it. So why do you need to study from real life and other artists is mainly you get the good fundamentals of reality and how things actually exist, how they look and feel from real life. And you study artists to understand how they solve problems for themselves. Now, how they figured out how to use brushstrokes, how to use colors, how to exaggerate shapes, how to paint trees in their own style. You've done a lot of the hard work, and you can just steal that from them just by looking at the art, observing, breaking it down, and doing a study. And you're like, oh wow, this is so genius, right? So you need to study a lot more than you think. Okay, now reason number 8 is that you don't take feedback or you ignore it. Now, as artists, a lot of us make art in isolation, and we like doing that. It is our comfort zone, it is our escape, it is our form of expression, and that's totally fine. But if you're looking to improve, you need feedback, because a lot of the times we don't see where we need to improve on unless we take a step back and look at it after a while later, or we get some good feedback on it. So how do you go about fixing that? The easiest way is to join an art community with like-minded people, or actually go to artists who are a few steps ahead of you and get feedback on that. And here's a hack that I can give you guys, where if you surround yourself with like 3 or 4 like-minded artists like yourself, you can learn up to 3 to 4 times faster. Because, for example, if one of you guys learn something new that's kind of like mind-blowing and new, you teach it to the other 3 or 4 people, and you'll all learn that. And when one of you guys fails at something, the others can learn from that failure and not do it themselves. That's how you can speed up your growth and your art, just by being in a community. Lesson number 9, okay, is that you are in your comfort zone. Okay, now a lot of you guys might be trying a lot of different things but still staying within a comfort zone, and let me explain that to you. When you start on a new project or you're creating something and you reach a point where you feel like this sucks, or will anyone even care about this, or is this even good? You tend to take a break from it, leave it, and never get back to it again. Even if the project is way outside of your comfort zone and you did try to do it, the point where you give up and move on from it is actually the border of your real comfort zone. Now, if you take a break and go back to that piece with some fresh eyes and sit down and actually complete it and see it through and put it out, or whatever the end goal for that piece was, that is an improvement. That is going beyond the boundaries that you set for yourself, and that is where the growth happens. And the last reason, which is reason number 10, is that your art lacks storytelling. Now, while I was reviewing the portfolios of a lot of these artists I was speaking to, I could see that they mainly focus on trying to make cool looking art as opposed to storytelling with their piece and adding value with their works. Okay, and I get it. On social media, you look at cool art and you resonate with it and you're like, this is so cool, I love the colors, I want to do that, and you do it, and you focus on the main thing, which is that your art should be your storytelling, it should be your context, it should be whatever you want to put out, and it's more about you and what your story is, as opposed to just copying stuff that other people have done on social media. So the fix for that is to ask yourself as many questions as possible while creating the art. For example, like, who is in this artwork? What's their backstory? What are they doing here? Where is this artwork taking place? Like, where is this scene? And why is any of this happening within this artwork? Just answering those questions alone will make you think so much more about the context of the piece and elevating it to the max. So improvement doesn't come overnight. It comes from a lot of work every single day that piles up and compounds into making you a big success. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it was useful for you, drop a like and a subscribe, as it helps me a lot. And let me know in the comments below on which of these points resonate with you, and if any of them were helpful, or if you want any more questions or doubts, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video.